Boston, 1923. A doctor named James Murphy publishes a paper that terrifies the entire United States. He claims that sitting on a public toilet seat can kill you, that syphilis, gonorrhea, and a mysterious disease he calls latrine fever are spreading through American cities by transmission from the wooden surfaces in public bathrooms. His paper makes national headlines. Mothers warn their daughters. Schools install paper covers. Public toilets are torn out and replaced with new designs. And one strange shape appears in restrooms across the country, almost overnight. The U-shaped toilet seat. The horseshoe. The seat with a gap at the front. It is in nearly every public bathroom in America today. And almost nobody alive knows why it's that shape. It exists because of one disease panic. One doctor. 100 years ago. Now imagine sitting on a toilet seat made of splintered wood, coated in lead-based paint, used by hundreds of strangers a day, with no way to clean it between uses. For most of human history, that was reality. And what people did to deal with it, and the strange disease panic that reshaped every public bathroom in America, is going to make you look at the seat in your bathroom very differently. I'm Henry Walsh of Filthy Past, and this is the hidden history of the most ignored object in your bathroom. This is the history of the toilet seat. Here's what most people don't realize. The toilet seat is older than the toilet. Long before flush toilets existed, humans built seats over holes. The Romans had them in their public latrines, long marble benches with holes carved at regular intervals. The marble was cold but smooth, easy to wipe down, and it didn't splinter. In medieval European castles, the garderobe seat was built into the stone wall itself, a simple stone slab with a hole hanging out over a chute that dropped waste straight down the side of the castle. Some of these original seats can still be seen today in castles across England and France. But in regular households, the toilet seat was something different, something much worse. In medieval homes and through the Renaissance, most toilets were simple wooden boxes built over a chamber pot or a small cesspit. The seat was a rough wooden plank with a hole sawed into it. These wooden seats had two enormous problems. First, they splintered. Constantly. The wood was rarely sanded smooth. Splinters in unfortunate places were such a common injury that medieval physicians wrote treatises about how to remove them. Second, they absorbed everything. Wood is porous. It soaked up moisture, urine, fecal particles, blood, and bacteria. A single wooden toilet seat used by a family for a decade became, essentially, a slab of contaminated lumber. Cleaning it was nearly impossible. You couldn't disinfect wood. Bleach as we know it didn't exist. People scrubbed seats with vinegar and lye, which discolored the wood but didn't actually sterilize it. By the 1700s, the toilet seat had become one of the dirtiest objects in the average European home, and nobody knew what to do about it. To understand why toilet seats became a national panic, you have to understand what public bathrooms looked like in 1900. In American cities, public toilets were finally being built in train stations, parks, and department stores. For the first time in history, hundreds of strangers were using the same toilet seat every single day. Most of those seats were still made of wood. Many were painted with white lead-based paint to make them look more sanitary. The paint chipped. People sat on chips of lead. Lead poisoning from public toilets became a documented medical concern by 1910. Worse, the seats were almost never cleaned. Janitors scrubbed the floors and the bowls. The seats were considered self-cleaning, on the theory that nobody ever actually touched them with bare skin. This was wrong. Everyone touched them with bare skin. Then came the venereal disease panic of the 1920s. Syphilis and gonorrhea were spreading rapidly through American cities. Doctors, journalists, and public health officials were desperate to find an explanation that didn't involve discussing what was actually causing it. Sex was unmentionable in polite society. The toilet seat was not. So they blamed the toilet seat. Newspaper articles from the 1920s and 1930s warned readers that public toilet seats could transmit syphilis, gonorrhea, and a fictional disease called latrine fever. Mothers told their daughters never to sit on a public toilet directly. The technique known as the squat hover, hovering above the seat without touching it, became standard practice for American women. It is, by the way, still standard practice today. A custom passed down for over 100 years, based on a disease theory that was almost completely false. But the panic had consequences. And one of them was the strangest design choice in American bathroom history. In 1955, the American Standard Association, the body that wrote building codes for the entire United States, made a decision that still affects every public bathroom you've ever used. They mandated the open front toilet seat, the U-shape, the horseshoe with a gap at the front instead of a complete oval. The official reasoning was strange. The open front was supposedly designed to give women space to clean themselves more easily without their hands touching the seat. It was also claimed to prevent contamination from male users. Neither claim has ever been scientifically supported. What is true is that the open front seat became required by law in commercial buildings across America. The International Plumbing Code, written in 1955 and still enforced today, mandates that public toilet seats must have an open front. Almost every public toilet in the United States is U-shaped by federal building code. Walk into any office, any restaurant, any airport bathroom in America. The seats are U-shaped. Walk into any private home in America. The seats are oval. The shape changes based on whether you're inside a private residence or a public building, and almost nobody notices the difference. In Europe, by contrast, public toilet seats are typically full oval, just like the seats in homes. Europeans have looked at American horseshoe seats for decades and wondered what on earth they're for. The answer is a 1920s disease panic, a 1955 building code, and a regulation that nobody has ever bothered to update. By the way, if you've made it this far, you clearly have a stronger stomach than most. If you want more stories like this, the disgusting, forgotten truth behind the things you use every day, hit subscribe. You're the exact kind of person this channel is made for. Now, back to the story. Let me tell you about a man named Charles Hugh Olin. Olin was an American inventor and entrepreneur in the 1930s who saw the public toilet panic as a business opportunity. People were terrified of public toilet seats. They wanted protection. Olin would sell it to them. In 1933, he patented and began manufacturing the disposable paper toilet seat cover, a flimsy sheet of treated paper that you placed over the seat before sitting down. Use it once, flush it away. Olin promised it would create a barrier between you and any disease lurking on the porcelain. The product became a phenomenon. Within 10 years, paper seat covers were installed in public bathrooms across the United States. Here is the part nobody knew. Subsequent medical research has shown that paper toilet seat covers do absolutely nothing. They are too thin to block any meaningful pathogen. Bacteria pass through them easily. The disposable cover is, scientifically speaking, a placebo. And it gets worse. The bigger truth, which doctors finally admitted publicly in the 1980s, is that you cannot get syphilis, gonorrhea, or any common venereal disease from a toilet seat at all. The pathogens cannot survive on a dry porcelain surface for more than a few seconds. The 1923 panic that started the entire seat cover industry was based on bad science. By the time the truth came out, the industry was worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Charles Hugh Olin's company had been bought, sold, and absorbed into larger corporations. Paper seat covers were standard in restrooms across America. They are still standard today. Hotels, airports, and office buildings spend tens of millions of dollars a year on a product that medical science has known doesn't work for over 40 years. Sound familiar? The toilet seat continued to evolve in strange directions throughout the 20th century. In 1965, a Japanese company called Toto began selling something called the washlet, a heated toilet seat with a built-in retractable nozzle that sprayed warm water at the press of a button. Within 30 years, more than 80% of Japanese households had a washlet or similar electronic seat. They had heated rims, automatic lids, ambient music, and self-deodorizing systems. In Europe, soft close hinges became standard. The slamming toilet lid, a sound common in American bathrooms for over a century, was engineered out of existence in most European homes by 2010. In America, the toilet seat remained almost completely unchanged from its 1955 design. Then came 2020. The COVID-19 pandemic created sudden global awareness of bathroom hygiene. Scientists discovered that flushing a toilet could aerosolize viral particles up to 6 feet into the air. Closed lids became important for the first time. Heated bidet seats, mocked in America for decades, became one of the fastest-growing home products in the country. Today, the American toilet seat is finally evolving again. Soft close lids are now common in new construction. Heated seats are sold at major retailers. The ridiculous U-shape, mandated by a 1955 building code based on 1920s pseudoscience, is finally being questioned by plumbing reform advocates. Here's what most people never think about. The toilet seat is the perfect example of how fear becomes infrastructure. In 1923, a single doctor wrote a paper claiming venereal disease spread through public toilets. He was wrong. Within 2 decades, that wrong claim had reshaped American building codes, created an entire industry of disposable seat covers, taught generations of women to hover instead of sit, and produced the strangest public bathroom design in the developed world. None of it was based on real science. All of it became permanent. The U-shaped seat in your office bathroom exists because of a 1920s panic. The paper cover dispenser exists because of a 1933 patent for a product that doesn't work. The squat hover technique that millions of women still use exists because their grandmothers were warned by their grandmothers. Almost everything about the modern American public toilet was shaped by people who didn't know how disease actually spread. We have known the truth for 40 years. We have changed almost nothing. The next time you sit down in a public bathroom, remember, you are sitting on the residue of one wrong doctor, one panicked decade, and 100 years of regulations that nobody has ever bothered to update. You are sitting on history. I hope you enjoyed today's episode of Filthy Past. If you made it this far, hit that subscribe button. Like the video, and drop a comment below telling me which everyday object you want me to dig into next. Next week, we're going somewhere even worse. Before soft toilet paper existed, the rolls people used were filled with wood splinters. Companies advertised splinter-free toilet paper as a feature. Some 1950s American brands secretly contained radioactive material, and the Sears catalog tax that taxed toilet paper as a luxury for the rich. The Filthy History of Toilet Paper Part 2. Coming soon. Until then, take a look around. The past is filthier than you think.